ever times wherein they tried showing the same time at two different places. So, they've also made it interesting by adding one small kid finding the person instead of, someone grown up trying finding him. So this is the first instance of an edit. Okay. So I don't know. Some kids might find it boring, but
no, it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's really.
So in the edit, no. So these are all actions. So these things are all pretty simple to follow. So in Russia, a lot of experiments with regards to editing happened. So these guys, there was a guy called Kuleshov. So Kuleshov, what he did was, so this is a soup bowl, okay? This is a soup bowl, and you cut to a guy watching it. It's a kid that has died, and the same guy watching it. The shot is the same. It's just our emotions with relation to that guy changes. When you see a soup bowl and show a guy, you feel like, okay, probably he's hungry. When you see a young dead child and show him, you actually connect this, subconsciously, just to think that, okay, now actually he's feeling bad for the kid, even though that face is the same face. And this is the third experiment. A beautiful girl. And again you see him. Now he looks like a weirdo. So all at once, it's the same face. So this is one of the first experiments with regards to an edit. Actually the story becomes different depending on what you show next. So actually it's also the way a director works, You actually lead the audience in a specific way. Outside the frame, what is happening you don't know. You don't know what is on this side of the road. Whatever we show, it feels like that is only on that side of the road. These are all very different locations. But there's a homeless person, it feels like she's... So filmmaking is nothing but kind of, So according to a person called Truffaut, it's 24 lies a second.
24?
Lies. So all these things, all these are things which is happening with respect to filmmaking as a medium. How do we tell the story properly? So the interesting thing is, till now, there's no sound. Sound hasn't made an entry into filmmaking. So suddenly, sound came in.
All right, everyone, sit down, sit down. Listen, this is going to hand you a lot of laughs. There's a man been coming into my office now for months, and well, you got that gadget working, Sam? All set, Simpson. Okay, let her go.
Hello. This is a demonstration of a talking picture. Notice, it is a picture of me and I am talking. Note how my lips and the sounds issuing from them are synchronized together in perfect unison since the earliest days of the cinema.
There's somebody talking behind that.
So till then, no one knew, like, sound and this thing can be introduced together. So this is one of the first demonstration of when sound came into film. This is part of a film, lovely film called Singing in the Rain. You guys can check it out later. So I've just put this as a demo here. So you can see that these guys, they think like, someone is actually standing behind the screen and he's going to be talking. So which brings us to the fact that when the silent pictures were being shown, was there any music at all?
No.
So what is the music? What did they do?
Probably played it in the place where.
Yes.
Oh, live orchestra, is it?
So everything used to be played live with a live orchestra. The film is happening there and there's a bunch of guys sitting here and playing according to the thing. And fortunately I've had the experience of watching it once. So we had this night. Huh? I spent time in a film school. So like some live guys were invited. So Raja Harishchandra was our first film. India's first film was Raja Harishchandra, which was a silent film. So while the movie was playing there, here they played live orchestra. It was awesome.
Come on from behind that screen, Mr. Simpson.
Oh, I'm right here.
Of our pioneer inventor. My voice has been recorded on a record. A talking picture. Goodbye.
Well,
Okay. So sound was introduced, but it wasn't simple. You have to record the sound. At the time, there was no concept of dubbing. So how many people know dubbing? Dubbing. Okay.
So கேமராக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து பேசுவாங்க பட் அட் டைம் சவுண்ட் குவாலிட்டி வந்து நல்லா இருக்கும் நல்லா இருக்காது ஸோ தே இம்ப்ரோவைஸ் இட் இன் த டப்பிங் ஸோ டப்பிங்கிறது வந்து ஆஃப்டர் ஃபிலிம் ஷூட்டிங் அப்புறம் ஒரு ஸ்டூடியோக்குள்ளே போயிட்டு அதுக்கு அந்த சீனுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி பேசுவாங்க.
Correct. So basic thing is there are two kinds of sound recording called sync recording. Sync recording is live sound. Right. While I'm talking, there are mics placed here and there, or it's pinned here as lapel mics, and whatever I talk is recorded. But the challenge in this is the camera has to be silent. So like silent cameras, like they are more expensive. In sync shoot, the AC sound will also be recorded. So it becomes a real pain. And suddenly you will have one vehicle passing. It becomes difficult. So dubbing was introduced wherein they will just take a random dialogue. Okay.
Dubbing.
Dubbing now. Okay, so
All right, here we go. Quiet. Roll up.
this is from the same film. They are trying to record sound.
She's got to talk into the mic. I can't pick it up.
Cut. What's the matter, Dexter?
Lena, look, Lena, don't you remember I told you there's a microphone right there in the bush?
Yeah,
You have to talk into it.
I was talking, wasn't I, Miss Dinsmore?
Yes, my dear, but please remember round tones.
So the dialogue delivery, pronunciation, everything has to be proper.
Pierre, you shouldn't have come.
Pierre, you shouldn't have come.
Yes, my dear, that's much better now.
Hold it a second. Lena, look, here's the mic, right here in the bush.
Yeah,
sound goes through the cable to the box. A man records it on a big record in wax. But you have to talk into the mic first. In the bush. Try it again.
Gee, this is dumb.
She'll get it, Dexter. Look, Lena, don't worry. We're all a little nervous the first day. Everything's going to be okay. Oh, by the way, Roscoe, you know the scene coming up where I say, Imperious Princess of the Night? I don't like those lines there. Is it all right if I just say what I always do? I love you, I love you, I love you. Lena, we're missing every other word. You've got to talk into the mic.
Well, I can't make love to a bush.
I can't wait.
You'll have to think of something else.
What are you doing? You're being wired for sound, dearie. What?
Now, Miss Lamont, watch out for those dentalized D's and T's and those flat A's.
Anybody's picking on me.
Okay, Lena. Now look at this flower, see? The mic is in there. That's it. Now the sound will run from it, through this wire, onto the record. It'll catch whatever you say. Now let's hear how it sounds, Lena. Okay, quiet! Roll up!
You shouldn't have come. Sure.
What's that noise? The mic's picking up her heartbeat.
That's right. That should do it. Now don't forget, Lena. The mic is on your shoulder. And whatever you say goes through. Quiet!
Quiet! Quiet!
It's dangerous.
Oh, Pierre, you shouldn't have come. You were flirting with me.
What's this wire goes here? It's dangerous.
So feisty.
Okay. So basically you would have noticed the old black and white films, when they are shown now on TV, it's very fast. Have you ever noticed why? So the thing is, initially the earlier films, okay, so what is filmmaking per se? How do you get the feeling of motion?
Collection of photographs.
So it's collection of photographs. So all of you, if you immediately close your eyes, okay, and open it, for a couple of fractions of seconds, you actually, even after you close, you see what you were seeing earlier. Correct?
1/16 second.
It is 1/8. Okay. So 1/8 of a second, this concept called persistence of vision stays. Okay. So actually, when you close, also that vision is still there. So any frames, like more than 8 frames, like say more 10 frames together, 10 photographs together, you will feel like it's a continuous motion because of this persistence of vision. So whereas this thing overlaps with this thing, so actually they used to, with some after some basic experiments, they realized 16 frames, if they shoot continuously, the motion is very smooth. So they used to shoot at 16 and also project at 16. So when they shoot 16 frames, what happens is 1 second. 1 second is split into 16 frames. Each frame is 1/16. Okay? So when sound was introduced, the speed and rhythm of sound was different. Whereas for motion it is 16. The sound is different. Sound, because this movement and the sound coming out, it has to be together. Right? So that wasn't happening at 16 frames per second. Because the sound used to work at 12 frames per second, equivalent. So they made 16 and 12, it's actually 8 frames no, for movement. So they made it 24 frames per second. In 24 frames, both sound and visuals were matching. So once sound came in, the filmmaking process became 24 frames per second. So now, the projectors have become 24 frames per second when they project. So now each second is split into 24 frames. So in a second, it plays 24 frames. So when we play the original film, so in 16 frames, 1 second is over. In the next 16 frames, it takes 8 frames from the next second. So actually, they had, now if you play it at 24 frames, it is actually 1.5 minutes of that film. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So that's why when you play them, it appears faster.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So even now if you want that effect, you shoot at 16 frames per second and play it back. It feels
So
better.
Charlie Chaplin and all is.
Yeah, no sound, no.
Ah.
So also the introduction of sound killed a lot of careers also. Charlie Chaplin was fabulous as a silent movie maker.
But அப்போ வந்து அது ஸ்லோவா தான் இருக்குதா?
Because at that time projectors were screening only, projecting at 16 frames.
Oh, okay.
So அப்போ வந்து இவ்ளோ ஃபாஸ்ட் கிடையாது.
Normal. It's not normal. Even this thing, if you take Vimeo and play it, slow it down, it will be normal. Sound and image didn't match. They matched, the earliest was 24 frames per second. Okay. So then a very simple, I just picked up this thing. Example, just a second. So you can try this at home, just for the persistence of vision type. I just picked an example that you guys can try at home also.
So I'll show you how to do that with other things other than stick figures. Now I'll go to the next page and I can see my drawing through. Look, that helps you to put it in the same place. So he's getting ready to say hi. His hand is slowly coming out.
I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We would love to see the flipbook animations that you've made. So post them on our Facebook page. Have fun with this, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.
You know, there's just an example for. So that was just an example for frames per second, the earlier one. So even if you take photographs like this one by one and project it fast, it will feel like a continuous movement. So this you can try it at home. So basically, what is important in filmmaking is, it's a very visual medium, you know, it's an experience. Watching a film is not just something, it's an experience. So I just picked up one clip, a 1 minute clip from Rajnikant film called Johnny. Most of you guys wouldn't even know Rajnikant.
They know Rajnikant.
Correct. So the thing is, right now the problem is we are taking the easier route of conveying everything through dialogues.
Lemon juice.
You know, actually filmmaking is a visual process with dialogue, music and everything. If you just want dialogue, you can read a book, right?
有没有上过冰架？
Sure. how do you create a mood? You know, you can't say that they both were happy with each other. That's very dumb. Or you can just show a placard saying both the guys are very happy. But you create this magic, you know. That's what filmmaking is. You have one very nice visuals, moments. Okay. Another thing is. Okay, I think I'll just skip this because. So if two people are having a conversation across the table or in a restaurant, you can shoot it in different ways. I'm just going to tell you a bit about non-verbal communication. You know, for example, two people are sitting across a table. A glass of water is full. In the second instance, say a glass of water is half full. Immediately, without any dialogues, you understand that they've been there for
some time.
More time. You see, one glass is empty, other glass is half full. Probably this guy came first. He was waiting for that guy. You know, these are all like when you set up a frame. Every object in that can tell a story. You know. So the detailing is very important. These are all non-verbal communication which if you ask someone explicitly they might not get it. But subconsciously they will get it. Okay? So if it's alright, I'll just show you one more clip.
Yeah, sure. Take your time, KG, I think.
So, this is a scene in which, you know, there is a tension between the kid and the mother. The kid behaves very well when the father is around. Okay? And there is no dialogues, you know.
The detail. Here's an example. In this scene, a son taunts his mother by misbehaving just before his father.
Hey Dad, how's work? Taking cool pictures?
So another thing, yeah, the sound is used very well. So when the sound is introduced, it became the fourth dimension. You have length, breadth and height. The fourth is outside the frame. You know, with sound you can create that atmosphere. So you don't see the dad, but you feel his presence.
Notice that the father is placed just on the edge of frame, because while he's around, he doesn't really pay attention. Later on, when he tries to ignore her fears,
Sweet little boy. That's what boys do.
we still don't see his face. Instead, we get this shot. What does this detail tell us?
A lot of time.
Time is one. Another thing is the family doesn't really clean up. You know, it's a kind of, you know, the family is breaking down. A very normal, and it's just in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, you've managed to show something. And these are beyond verbal things. It's just 2-3 visuals, and the story is taken care of. So, but invariably,
Literally,
like
they haven't cleaned up the mess, and it's gotten worse. But what about metaphorically? What does this say about them and their son? What's interesting about Lynn Ramsey's work is that the entire story is implied through these detail shots.
Okay. So now we'll come to the basic things, departments. So there's a director. What does a director do? Sorry? So what does a writer do? No, it's true. Sorry? What? That's what is directing?
He says the script.
So basically what is a film? The film was starts as a story, right? The film happens on the pages of a notebook. Someone writes it. A writer writes it. Then a script is done. Script is a format that is acceptable to filmmaking. Like for example, in a book you can say the two people faced each other, it felt like David and Goliath. But how do you show it? We have to show it visually. So script is that thing which limits the writing to which can be visually told. Screenplay comes next. Screenplay is a description of what exactly is on the frame.
Oh, okay.
Okay, like if I move from here to there, screenplay will say it. And the storyboard will visually draw it. Okay? So director, what does a director do? Director actually, it's his vision. A story can be told in so many ways. A basic story, like Kaka, what is it? You wouldn't know. Ask your brother. So basic thing, even that simple story can be told in so many ways. How does a director tell a story? So that's the important part of a director's, that's a director's role. If you take Mani Ratnam's songs, actually it wouldn't make any sense. But it's so beautifully shot that you wouldn't really be thinking about what is happening. In one random place you will see 10 women carrying a pot and doing. It doesn't make sense, but it fits. Because he works on the mood more than nitty-gritty. So this thing, now I'll just show you an example of this director called Edgar Wright. Okay. So this video, I'll also tell you the name of this channel. It's a very nice channel on YouTube called Every Frame a Painting, wherein they take up concepts and they go on to explain it. So in this, these guys have taken Edgar Wright to explain on basic thing. One person is traveling from one city to the other. Okay, this can be told. This is part of the story. In the script, it's written. This guy moves from here to UK or London. So you can show it in many ways. How does this director choose to show?
An example. Let's say you need to move your character from one city to another to get your story going. How do you shoot it, and can you get a joke out of it? Well, no. Not if you send out a second unit to do it. Every shot pans from left to right. You include really obvious landmarks and signs. You mix in generic helicopter footage, and you put upbeat music.
So what he's saying is, the general way of showing is one car going, one
so movement signboard.
Okay, or as this thing says, one helicopter shot of different cities.
Music under it so the audience doesn't get bored.
And with music.
This is just lazy filmmaking and boring. You've seen it a million times.
So this line was, I like this line. This is a very lazy filmmaking. And we've seen it millions of times. Very cool. Anyone can just do it. Okay?
What would happen if you were truly inventive with this type of scene? There we go. And this isn't just a series of quick cuts. There's a lot of good visual storytelling here. These two taxi shots tell you exactly where we came from and where we're going. These two shots emphasize the move away from civilization. Our main character always faces forward or to the right, so screen direction is respected. Turning the music down and the sound effects up is funny because each cut is jarring. And there's even some nice performances from Simon Pegg and Ryan Gosling. Okay, that was one example without context. You're right, totally unfair. Well, what if you had a movie where a horrible apocalyptic event happens and you want to foreshadow it earlier, maybe by having the characters not notice something important?
So he takes another example. This example is about just about a guy saying he stopped drinking. How do you say that?
Okay, still unfair. Well, what if you had a movie where one character has stopped drinking, but the other characters are disappointed in him, and you want to get a joke out of it? How would you do it? Will they just stand around and talk about his drinking?
I told my wife I wouldn't drink tonight. Besides, I got a big day tomorrow. But you guys have a great time. A big day? Doing what?
Or would you do this?
What?
I believe this. This is what separates a mediocre director from a great one. The ability to take the most simple, mundane scenes and find new ways to do them. Great directors understand that you can get a laugh just through staging. Here's an example I heard from David Bordwell. Things popping up in a frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, an interesting film is actually made of all these things. Like, you know, when you see it, you get the story, but it's not hand-fed into you. So, mainly because it's a visual medium, it's not one. Okay, so this video I can share it to you later. Basically, we saw the Kuleshov experiment, no, earlier. So in Kuleshov experiment, I shoot Natraj, and then I shoot something else. So that thing of that anticipation of what is Natraj watching, then we show. So this video goes on to tell how Spielberg will lead you to the fact that he's watching and he's staring, but he won't really show. You know, so that suspense is there, and instead of showing what he sees, Spielberg goes on to show what he feels. You know, so it's a very interesting video, but it's 5 minutes or something. So like it will just keep dragging. I can share it with you later. So then we come to the role of music. Okay. Okay. So this is one way of music that the guy doesn't really approve of.
The first problem is that most of the music doesn't evoke an emotional response. Take a look at this scene from the first.
Most of the music doesn't evoke any emotional response.
Iron Man.
Day 11, test 37, configuration 2.0. For lack of a better option, dummy is still on fire safety. If you douse me again, and I'm not on fire, I'm donating you to City College. All right, nice and easy.
It's kind of hard to hear it. So let's try that one more time. But this time with just the music isolated.
So was it
Did
there?
you have an emotional reaction to that music? So what happens to this scene if we just take it out?
Day 11, test 37, configuration 2.0. For lack of a better option, dummy is still on fire safety. If you douse me again, and I'm not on fire, I'm donating you to City College. All right, nice and easy.
The scene works just fine, and it doesn't need any other sound. And that's partially why you forget the music. It's like the air conditioner in the background. After a while, you tune it out. Another problem is that the music is used very predictably, so that what you see is what you get. If you see something funny, you hear funny music. If you see something sad, you hear a high note on the strings. This is a really safe way to score a film, because all of the emotions are expected. The music just tells you the same thing as the picture. If someone looks scared, then you hear
And this is the second reason the music is forgettable. It never challenges your expectations. But sometimes, the Marvel films do have memorable music.
So basically what he's saying is, it's a very safe and boring way of creating music. You know, it never challenges you, per se. Like,
or in a way, I mean, music becomes redundant for the...
It's redundant, yeah. Like the first example, even if the music is not there, it's not going to give anything. In the beginning of the video, he asks a few people, can you tell me the music of Star Wars? You just have Darth Vader walking and you add that music with that sound effects. It's just that. You don't need anything more.
Yeah, I would prefer to hear more of that, you know, that lightning thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
So, like, you know, like, we are not really concentrating on the sound side, you know. So, this is just a bonus thing I added. Luckily, the kids are here. So Jackie Chan, like, it's a very nice video where it's 9 minutes. What to do? Is it alright? Okay. So basically, you know, okay, money guy. So basically, in action film, no. Okay, this is Manivandan. He's a black belt, first Dan. Okay, and he got that when he was in school. So he's definitely stronger than I am. Okay, but in film it's all lies, right? So if we are fighting each other, okay. So supposing I'm hitting him, you are the camera, okay? So I'll do this. Okay. So you can't see whether my hand has hit him, right? After a point, like, it just covers. So this is filming. I wouldn't shoot it like this. If I shoot it like this, then you see the gap, right? Can you see the gap?
Yeah.
So we kind of shoot it like this, wherein it feels like I've hit him. Jackie Chan is one guy who can do these stunts. So if I'm shooting a fight between us, one shot will be from there. Another shot will be a close-up of money falling. Cut to something else, you know. Cut to him falling on the ground. So it's all cheating. We need to cheat because most of the guys can't do much. You know, they can perform stunts. Tom Cruise does all the stunts by himself. He doesn't use a body double. So Jackie Chan is the choreographer of his fights also. So Jackie Chan started as a stuntman. Do you know that?
Yes.
So he was also a stuntman in Bruce Lee's team. Okay. So he has his own stunt team and everything. So this guy goes on to, he can actually show off his skills. He doesn't mind falling. So most of his action things are very wide shots. They don't need to cheat. He will jump, he will fall, he will do everything. So this video is there.
Hello? Yes, this is Jackie speaking. Hi, my name is Tony, and this is Every Frame a Painting. Some filmmakers can do action, others can do comedy. But for 40 years, the master of combining them has been Jackie Chan. These days, there's a lot of movies that combine funny scenes with fight scenes. But even when the movie's good, the comedy and action seem to be two different directors and two different styles. And that's why Jackie's so interesting. In his style, action is...
So you saw the previous shot. There are so many cuts of two people fighting. It feels like they are fighting properly, but they are not. Okay. Here, if you see, all of Jackie Chan's shots are long.
comedy. And his work shows that the same filmmaking principles apply, whether you're trying to be funny or kick ass. So let's dive in. If you'd like to see the names of the films as I'm talking, press the CC button below. Ready? Let's go. So, how does Jackie create action that is also funny? First off, he gives himself a disadvantage. No matter what film, Jackie always starts beneath his opponents. He has no shoes, he's handcuffed, he has a bomb in his mouth. From this point, he has to...
He knows he's good, he always starts with a disadvantage.
fight his way back to the top. Each action creates a logical reaction. And by following the logic, we get a joke. In movies, this comedic style goes back to the silent clowns like Chaplin, Lloyd, and Keaton. But I think Jackie has distilled it down to one line of dialogue.
Please! I said I don't want trouble!
Because he's the underdog, Jackie has to get creative, which brings us to point number 2. He uses anything around him. This is the most famous aspect of his style.
So yeah, I'm just re-explaining for people who haven't heard. So he fights with the things available in the frame. He doesn't go on to take one gun or anything or stick.
Take something familiar, do something unfamiliar. I've seen him fight with chairs, dresses, chopsticks, keyboards, Legos, refrigerators, and of course, not only does this make each fight organic and grounded, it also gives us jokes that couldn't happen anywhere else. Number 3, Jackie likes clarity. He doesn't do dark scenes where everything is color-corrected blue. If his opponent wears black, he wears white. And if his opponent's in white, then he's styling. His framing is so clear that in every shot, he's setting up the next bit of action. Here, even though we're watching the stuntman, 2/3 of the frame is the staircase. A few seconds later, we see why. He keeps things clear by rarely using handheld or dolly moves.
Like an American movie, you can see there's a lot of movement. When the camera angle movement, that means the actor, they don't know how to fight.
In slow motion, you can see how the camera operator swings around to make the hits seem more violent. But since Jackie can fight,
I never move my camera. Always steady, wide angle. Let him see I jumping down, I do the flat, I do the fall.
When you shoot this way, everything looks more impressive because action and reaction are in the same frame. Notice how you can always see Jackie, the car, and the wall at the same time. But a similar stunt from Rush Hour 3 never includes all of the elements in the same shot, and it doesn't work. The same principle applies to comedy. This shot, directed by Sammo Hung, shows us the punch, the bad guy's face, and Jackie's face all in one. Now check out the same gag in Shanghai Noon. Here, action and reaction are separate shots. It kind of works, but not nearly as well. Why don't more directors do this? Because of number 5. They don't have enough time. Jackie is a perfectionist, willing to do as many takes as necessary to get it right. And in Hong Kong, he's supported by the studio, which gives him months to shoot a fight.
The most difficult thing is when I throw the fan and coming back, more than 120 tick. Those kind of things, oh, Jackie, good. It's not good. You can do it. Except, do you have the patience or not?
When I rewatch his work, these little things are the ones I'm most impressed by. He doesn't need to do them and they eat into his budget, but he still does them because he wants to. And it's that going above and beyond that I respect and admire.
But in America, they don't allow you to do that, because money just poof, 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 poof.
And his American work is missing something else.
And there's a rhythm also into the way that the shots are performed and also the way they're edited. And Jackie said something very interesting that, that the audience don't know the rhythm's there until it's not there.
Jackie's fight scenes have a distinct musical rhythm, a timing he works out on set with the performers.
Ready, action, stay where you are. Stay where you are, don't chase me. Boom, boom. Then, boom, see? Everybody looks good.
Even experienced martial artists have trouble with it. In his earliest films, you see him learning the timing from Yuan Heping, and it's very much like Chinese opera. But by the mid-80s, working with his own stunt team, he had something totally unique. In America, many directors and editors don't understand this timing, and they ruin it by cutting on every single hit. But in Hong Kong, directors hold their shots long enough for the audience to feel the rhythm.
The most important part is editing. And most of the directors, they don't know how to edit it. Even the stunt coordinator, they don't know how to edit it.
Hong Kong directors like Jackie and Sammo cut a particular way. In the first shot, you hit your opponent in the wide. In the second shot, you get a nice close-up. But when you cut the shots together, you don't match continuity. At the end of shot 1, the elbow is here. At the beginning of shot 2, it's all the way back here. These 3 frames are for the audience's eyes to register the new shot, and they make all the difference.
I'm stuck from here to here, but 2 shots combined is a zone. That's power.
In other words, show it twice, and the audience's mind will make it 1 hit that's stronger. By contrast, modern American editing doesn't show the hit at all. At the end of shot 1, the leg is here. At the beginning of shot 2, it's in the same place, going backwards. But because they cut at the exact frame of the hit, it doesn't feel like a hit. A lot of people think this is because of the PG-13 rating, but even R-rated films do this now. It looks like a bunch of people flailing around, instead of a bunch of people getting hurt. Ouch. Which brings us to number 8, pain. Unlike a lot of action stars who try to look invincible, Jackie gets hurt. A lot. Half the fun of his work is that not only are the stunts impressive, there's always room for a joke. Pain humanizes him, because no matter how skilled he is, he still gets smacked in the face. In fact, Jackie's face may actually be his greatest asset. Many times the look he gives is all it takes to sell a joke, like when he does an entire fight holding a chicken. Or dressed as Chun-Li. And last, Jackie's style always ends with a real payoff for the audience. By fighting his way from the bottom, he earns the right to a spectacular finish. He doesn't win because he's a better fighter, he wins because he doesn't give up. This relentlessness makes many of his finales really impressive and really funny. And it's in direct contrast to a lot of his American work, where bad guys are defeated because someone shoots them. Come on! But most of all, I think Jackie's style proves something. Action and comedy aren't that different. In both genres, we want to see our best performers. And I think a lot of modern action directors are failing completely. These actors are skilled artists, some of the best in the world. Why are the directors so unskilled? Why am I paying money to not see the action?
Whatever you do the best you can, because the film live forever. No, because you know that they're raining and the actor don't have time. I said, would you go to every theater to tell the audience? No, the audience see on the theater, good movie, bad movie, that's all.
Exactly. This work will last. And on that note, I leave you with the greatest death scene in film history.
Okay, so kind of this is the last video. This I thought I'll add mainly because like it's a very interesting video. And like this comes under this thing called sound design. So how do you know the sounds that are created? Like if you just close your eyes for a moment, okay? Can you hear the sounds around you?
Yes.
So you hear a lot of things, right? So all these add to the atmosphere. This is the, like invariably, like if you add a train sound, invariably you will know that the railway station is nearby or the train track is nearby. All these things are added in the sound post stage, okay, sound designing. So these guys here, these are called Foley artists. So you might never know. So Foley artists, they create the sound that you actually see. Sometimes they add sounds that exist, sometimes they create it. Just watch this video. was just an example. Yeah. And just to finish it, one anecdote. Like my mom had come to visit me in my Pune Film Institute. So I wanted her to see this. So another friend of mine was doing this Foley. So he was actually he had a lot of shoes. So he was the shot that he was recording was of him walking. So I knocked. Ruben, can my mom come and see? He's like, sir, 1 minute. I'm not wearing any clothes. Let me wear. Because the mic was also catching his rustle, which was actually creating problems for that sound. So actually in a closed door, he was doing that.